And hello everyone, welcome back to your next Meteor tutorial. Today we'll be connecting our app to a MongoDB database. If you don't know a lot about MongoDB, it is perfectly fine. MongoDB is just a NoSQL database, meaning you don't speak to the database using SQL, you do it using command. And it works perfectly with Meteor and JavaScript, so it will be rather easy to understand. So first we need to create a collection. A collection is basically a holder for all our data. So let's say we have a collection for all our tasks. So all our tasks will go into that collection. I believe it would be easier to show you what I'm talking about rather than talking about it. So take note, my app is still running here in the background. It's still on localhost 3000. And if you do fall behind, here is a GitHub page where you can view all the code we have done up until this point, from setup to where we are now, and all the way until the end result of this first part. Great. So to get started, we want to go to our imports, and in our API, you'll see there's a links.js file. This links.js file is basically what we want. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and say rename, and I'm going to rename it from links to task collection. And that will rename it for us. Then here I'm going to change this to task collection, and in here I'm going to say tasks. So you might be getting an error here. That is because we did change a few things that we should fix, but we'll get to that. So what we did here is we told Meteor we want to work with Mongo, and that's what we did here. We imported it, and then we exported a task collection. This is just so we can talk with the collection in the database. And as you can see here, it says new mongo.collection. So it creates a collection for us, a place where we can store all our data. It is like a JavaScript array with a bunch of objects inside of them. Very, very similar to what we did here inside of UI. It's very similar to this. And in here is the name for the collection. We can save that, and now we have created our task collections file. We now need to initialize it inside of our server. So we want to go to our server and main.js. So I'm going to make this a bit smaller and also hide this right here by pressing Ctrl and B. First off, we can delete all of this. We won't be using this anymore. So we just need to keep this meteor.startup. We can delete this as well. And here we can actually just fix this up. So this right here where it says links collection, we have changed that, so right here, to task collection. So here we can say task collection. And then it's going from imports, because Meteor allows us to import from the root of our project. So this won't import from the root of your operating system, it will import from the root of the project. Then we'll go to import. So if we were to open up this again, it's here and it goes to imports, API, and then it's looking for this task collection.js. We just put that here, task collection. You don't have to put the .js there. You can hide that again. Once you save, your app should work again like it usually does, because we fixed what was causing the error. We can remove this comment. And here we can add a few things. So before we get there, in fact, we should add an insert function. So function insert task, and this will allow us to insert a task into our collection. You don't have to put it here, you can put it there manually later on, but I would recommend putting it here right now. And you can just put in the task text. Inside this function, we want to return task collection dot insert, and then we want to insert the text task text. So what we're doing is we're saying, okay, go to task collection, and task collection is right here. This is where we created it. This is where our access point is. Then we say insert into that collection. So insert into the database of tasks. So we're inserting into this collection right there. And we're inserting a field text. So if I were to go back here to the UI app.jsx, then as you can see, we have an underscore ID and a text field. The underscore ID is provided to us automatically by MongoDB, so we don't have to worry about that. The text field, however, is not. So we have to enter the text field ourselves, which we are doing here. So we're saying text, and in the text we insert. Great, now we can start working here. So we can say, if the task collection, so if the amount of tasks in the task collection is 0, so if nothing is there, then we want to insert data into it just as a template. So let's do that here. So if task collection, and then we can say dot find, and this will find everything inside of that collection. And we can say dot count, and this will count the amount there is. If that count is equal to 0, that means there's nothing inside of that collection, so the collection is empty. So if there is nothing inside of that collection, we want to insert an array of items. So I'm going to add a few dummy tasks here. Here we go. So we have a few basic tasks. Just clean room, play Pokemon Go, order pizza, visit the doctor, learn JavaScript and Meteor, and then sleep at 8 p.m. Just a few basic tasks. Now we're going to loop through it by saying dot for each. So we're going to loop through this entire array, and for each item in the array we're going to do something, and we're going to insert task. And this will basically say, okay, for each item inside of this array, insert it into this right here. So insert that. So if we were to just display what would happen if we do the first one, it would look something like this. This right here is doing this, but just it changes this for every time it does this. So if we wanted to do this but without a for each loop, we could have just copied this and pasted it the amount of times that is there. And we could have just changed the insides of these to say whatever should be inserted. But I prefer doing this above here because that is just so much easier. We add an array and we for through it, and we can insert the data into the database using this function we created up here. You may be asking, okay, but how does it pass in the data? For each automatically provides a value that you can pass in. It automatically provides this right there. So when we say this, it will automatically fill in that parameter right there, and then we add it. So I want to make sure we actually did add the data to our database, and this gets added on Meteor startup. So when the application starts up, it's going to make sure that everything is added. So if we were to go here, I have an application called NoSQL Booster. It's a way to display NoSQL databases such as MongoDB. I do recommend that you get this because it is relatively simple to use. So we can go here to connect, and we can say create. Here will give us a bunch of things. We don't have to worry too much about what it says. We only have to go here, and where it says 27017, we can change that to 3000. So the same port that is right there. But we should take into consideration that there's going to only be one thing running per port. So what Meteor did is they changed it from 3000 to 3001. So the website, the web server, can run here on 3000, whilst the database runs on 3001. Perfect. And we can keep the rest just the same, and we can say save and connect. And as you can see, here we are. It has connected successfully if you saw that. If we open up our Meteor, then you see we have a links collection. This links collection is what was entered by default. We just deleted that and overwrote it with this tasks collection. So if you wanted to, you can delete this by going right click and just say drop collection. Just for convenience sake, I'm going to keep it there. And here we have tasks. So what you want to do is you want to double click on it. Once you double click on it, it will create an executable command for you, and it will run it as well. So you don't need to know any MongoDB, because we can use NoSQL Booster to write it for us. And as you can see here, everything we just added, learn JavaScript and Meteor, clean room, play Pokemon Go, sleep, visit the doctor, and order pizza has been added. So if you know that everything is here, if nothing failed, then we can continue right here. So everything has been inserted into the database. Next thing we need to do is we need to add something. So I'm going to keep the server running. I'm just going to click here on that plus symbol to create another terminal. As you can see, we have two terminals running here. That is the one with our Meteor server running, and this is the new one. Here I want to say Meteor add, and as I said before, Meteor add allows us to add a package that is provided by Meteor. And we can say React Meteor data. Then you can press enter to add this module to our Meteor project. You should see this, that it has already been added. We just did this to make sure that it has been added. Great, so once you have done that, we can just press this bin to kill this terminal, or we can type exit and press enter. I'm going to click the bin. Okay, great, so we can just drag that down again so you can see everything here once more. The following function we're going to use is also included inside of the React Meteor data we just installed with Meteor. We can close the main.js for right now because we won't be using that for a while. And here we can delete these tasks since we won't need it anymore. Now we want to import the use tracker. We're going to talk about this in a short while, but we want to import that. So import use tracker from, and we want to import it from Meteor and React Meteor data. So Meteor and then React Meteor data. And this should work perfectly fine. Next up, we want to import our task collection. So this right here. So we can also communicate with the database from here. Or from here, I mean. So we want to say, I'm going to just split my things up to keep it clean. Import. And then task collection. And here VS Code will even autocomplete it for me. Press enter and it should do it for you. And here it says it refreshed. And what do we see here? Nothing. That is perfectly fine, because currently we don't have anything to display because tasks don't exist anymore because we deleted it. Great. Now we're going to recreate tasks. And to do that, we want to wrap this like that. And then we can just say return. And that will return the data for us and allow us, so we can just tab this in, and allow us to put some extra code here. And I'm just going to do that so we can see what's going on here. Now we want to say const tasks, So we're going to create our new tasks. And that's going to be equal to the use tracker we just imported. So right up here, use tracker. So use tracker, it equals use tracker. And then in here, it will take in a function. So we can just do this. And we'll explain what this does in a second. We can then say task collection dot find, and we can just find everything. And then once we found it, we want to say fetch. There we go. Perfect. So let me explain what is actually happening here. So we're creating our new tasks. And then if I could just add that, there we go. And then we're saying use tracker. Now you might be asking, what is use tracker? Use tracker is a special hook inside of React, if it's used with Meteor, that allows you to see the data in the database as soon as it gets updated. I'll show you an example of this in a second. And then we're saying, okay, so find all of the data inside of task collection and return it. And I believe I should probably do that. Okay, now there's no more red squiggly lines. So we're saying find all of the data inside of it and then fetch it. So just return it so we can see what it is. And then we can keep the rest the same because this is basically the same as what we had here at the top. And there you see clean room, play Pokemon Go, order pizza, visit doctor, and whatnot. To show you the effects of use tracker, I'm going to go here to my NoSQL Booster. And here I want to insert something just to show you an example. Because usually if the database gets updated, then you won't see the results instantly. You'll have to refresh and all of that. Let's just quickly create a new document. So here you can say add document. And here we'll automatically create the query for you. And that is why I love NoSQL Booster, because it does everything for you. And instead of text, we want to just say, let's see, I am updated, just to show you. And if we run that query, it inserted the data into the database. If we were to run this here to refresh what we get, then I am updated is here at the top. Go back here and it says I am updated. It's updated without us having even to refresh the page. It just appeared. And that is why use tracker is so amazing, because it tracks the data in the database, and as soon as it changes, it updates everything. So on every device, it will update it. And that is why it is so powerful, and that is what also gives Meteor a lot of its power. And we have done what we wanted to do. We have created a collection, and that collection is accessed by the application and then displays that collection here. So it will be our to-do list. I hope you all understood. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask it in the comment section below. And remember, there is a GitHub page if you ever do fall behind.